Evan Harris here for your WCDT football preview show for Week 1. Week 0 is in the books, and we move forward to Week 1, where Franklin County and Huntland High Schools are back in action. Franklin County will kick off at 8 p.m., a special kickoff due to the heat, and they'll kick off against 1A powerhouse South Pittsburg. South Pittsburg won their first game last week with a drumming of Oliver Springs 56-0, and Franklin County is hoping to fare better than Oliver Springs did. I got to catch up with Coach Tracy Hayworth this week, actually here live in studio. Evan Harrison here live with head coach Tracy Hayworth of the Franklin County Rebels in studio.
In the studio. That's right.
This is our second time talking this week. My fault. Technical difficulties, but we're back. So now we've had practice.
Yeah, we had practice. That's right. It ought to go real smooth.
Well, talking about practice, you got some practice this week with some film. You're able to kind of self-evaluate this week, getting your film from Week 0 going into Week 1. How crucial is that film, and what is something that you can take from self-scouting, carry it into this week?
Well, this film, like I said, is very crucial for us, to grow and to get better each week. We made a lot of mistakes last week, special teams, offensively, some on defense, some coaching. Mm-hmm. And so, I think our film gave us the opportunity to go back and reevaluate it, look at it with some hindsight and instead of the spur of the moment type thing, and to look at and see where we messed up and why it went wrong. And so we was able to diagnose those things and find out why we were making those mistakes and try to eliminate them. And so that's going to help us this week to be able to go in and know, since we know what those mistakes were, and be able to manage the clock a lot better, as far as, us and as coaches, and that way make better decisions. So I think it's going to help our play and decision making. And so it was very crucial that and very very important that we got that information from the film.
Well, also from that film, well, maybe not that specific film, but other teams were playing in the mid-state area. Instead of last week where you're trying to get film from a scrimmage or, not a practice, but just different ways that you can get film, you actually get it from a game this week, and you get to do some scouting of your opponent, South Pittsburg. What are some things Rebel fans should look for and we'll see out of this South Pittsburg team?
Well, like you said, we got a more in-depth film this time. Like you said, last week we were having to go by practice film and anything that we could dig up from somebody else and things of that nature. That first game was always hard to try to scout your opponent. At least we've got a film of them in game time and game situations. Of course, South Pittsburg, strong tradition. They're gonna be very athletic. They're going to have a lot of size to them. They're quick and they play well. They play well together, and they do a lot of RPO things and where they'll set it up with the runs first and get you where you're just sitting on that, and then right off of those same plays they've got predetermined places that they're going to throw the ball already, and so that's hard to defend because it looks just like the run itself. So it sort of goes against your teaching, your rules a little bit. So you have to do some adjustment on that part to be able to stop them in that. They like to spread you out also and get you in one-on-one situations and use their athletic receivers that they have. And they have 3 athletic receivers too that they love going to all the time. And so we'll have to try to corral those guys, and then they have a running back that helps set up their running game. And so he runs the ball well, and we got to make sure that he doesn't get out there on the perimeter on us, because once he does that, he loves to run down those ticker tapes. He's pretty fast, and so I think if we can get in and with a defense and keep them from scoring and try to stop and eliminate the things that they do best and make them force them to do other things, and then with our offense, if our offense goes out and execute, eliminate the mistakes and put more points on the board, I think that there's a great opportunity for us to have a chance to win the game.
Shifting gears a little bit, your freshman team kicked off their season, their slate of games already this week. A tough loss, but I wanted you to talk about not so much the game, but just how important it is to have those players already in the building, already in the program, getting the culture set up in them. and how important is it not just for them to be here now as freshmen, but to play each of their years through their high school career?
Well, like I said, it's important that our freshmen do get a chance to play. You get better at playing the game of football by playing the game of football.
Yeah.
And of course, more important than the win and losses, of course, we'd like to try to win every one of them and develop that part of the culture. But at the same time, it's more important to be able to get that trickulation, it actually coming up the ladder. When you're a freshman and if I have you that whole time as a freshman,
yeah.
I'm going to be able to build you, and I'm going to be able to get my dividends out of you for my junior and senior season. Those first 2 years are mainly for learning and getting to know the terminology, getting used to the coaching staff and how we coach, getting used to the whole atmosphere of the high school,
yep.
and things of that nature. And then, like I said, learning our techniques and the way that we do things. And there's a lot of growing and going on, and maturity that has to happen as a freshman and sophomore. So it's important that we have those so we can go ahead and get them on the right foot and get them started. And that way, even though they're thrown into the fire a little bit, they're thrown into the fire with some guidance, and it's not in vain. They know exactly that they're working for their junior and senior season. So then once we get them out there the freshman year, if we can keep them keep them here the whole time, keep them out playing the whole time, then that's when our program was getting stout and strong. And then we're building the depth that we need to build.
Yep. Talking about that depth and talking about players playing through their high school career, you have several seniors that did that. You have several seniors that started as freshmen and are on their freshman team, played their sophomore year, took those bumps and bruises
yes.
that sophomores and sometimes even juniors take, and now have had some years of playing time underneath them. I want to talk to you about some of those seniors each week. I'll have to ask you about multiple in future weeks.
Yes.
So I'm going to talk about more. I'm going to try to get all your babies in there.
That's right. That's right.
But I want to talk about one player specifically this week. Zaylen Smith is a young man who's played as a freshman, played as a sophomore, played as a junior. Now he's coming into his own in his senior year. Had a big game in his first game last Friday night. Tell me a little bit about Zaylen Smith, the football player, and Zaylen Smith, the young man.
Well, I can't say enough about him as far as a young man. He's a great guy. Yes sir, no sir kind of guy. He's believe it or not, he's real shy and quiet, but he plays with a loud force, and he's been a guy that had been thrown into the fire as a youngster, and just because of injuries and things like that, maybe we had to plan before he was actually ready. But the experience that he has gained during that time, and he's also had multiple offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators, and he's played both sides of the ball. He's a guard on offense, and he's nose guard and defensive tackle. We slide him. So it depends on the strength of what we call. He plays either one, and he does a great job on both sides of the ball. And for him to have those multiple, I know it wasn't good at the time, but he had those multiple coaches, which broadened his horizons. His mental capacity got bigger. He learned more about football from different aspects, and so then it was easy for him to adapt to our offense, which we call it the pie. We run multiple things, and defense we do the same thing. We run multiple things, but multiplicity and simplicity is sort of how we try to do it on both sides, and with him having that experience, he was able to do that, and so now when he was a junior, he had a very stellar season, and so I'm expecting the same thing from him to get our dividends from this season from him, because it's the senior year. He's always played very well, and it seemed like that light bulb has really come on at this time, because I really see him maturing. I see him as a senior. Last game, I can't praise him enough. He was one of our. Matter of fact, Eric Jones and him were our players of the week, and Zaylen was all over the field. He was making tackles, not only right there in the box in his area, but he was playing a lot outside his area.
Big boy's running.
Yes, he was. Big boy was running. He was making tackles from sideline to sideline out there on screens and things of that nature that I didn't really, we coach him to be there, but he was there all game long, and he made a lot of great tackles, and then he made a lot of great blocks on offense. So I think this year is going to be just a great year for him, and he's it's gonna pay off for him. It's gonna pay off for us, and that's what it's about. Having those seniors like him, those great kids, make great grades. He's a 3.0 or better student, and he does his job on the field and off and in the classroom. And he's a well-rounded individual, and I look for him to be playing somewhere on some level, after high school. And again, like I said, I can't say enough about him. And then the importance of having him all 4 years just shows. I think this class will show, because most of these guys have played all 4 of their years, and I think if everything goes well this year, show the importance of having that.
Well, good luck Friday night, 8 o'clock kickoff. For those a little unsure, 8 o'clock, you're going to beat the Heat, hopefully.
Yes, we'll beat the Heat. Might be a little later going to bed, but we will beat the Heat.
Hey, hopefully going to be able to smile on your face if you're a Rebel fan. Good luck this Friday night.
Thank you very much. We're going to need it.
Huntland High School also playing in week 1 after a loss in week 0. They will face off against Grundy County, who actually had a bye last week in week 0, so no game film on them. I did get to catch up with Coach Kermit Reed and ask him a little bit about that and some other things in our weekly meetup this week. Evan Harris here with head coach of Huntland High School, Kermit Reed. Kermit, we're going into officially week 1. I know that kind of trips people up sometimes. Last week was week 0. This is week 1. Better not to have a bye week, though, week 0, right? We're going into week 1, though, and this is really the first week where you have a lot of film, or at least some film, to evaluate your opponent on, maybe?
No, because they had a bye week on week 0 or week 1, or whatever you want to call it. But so we have just minimal film on them. So, and they got a whole game at our jamboree, and we just get a jamboree where they played varsity 1 game, 1 quarter, and JV the next.
So that was a setup to a question. That's
what
that was. Well, speaking of last week, though, at least you have film on yourself to actually go back and look at. Film on yourself is something that you can coach from. Mm-hmm. Looking at your film from last week and just knowing how the game unfolded, what is something that you used from last week's game as a point of emphasis in coaching this week to maybe do better, or something that you did well that you want to continue to do?
Well, we need to take care of the ball. We fumbled it 3 times. We lost 2. However, we played really hard, really hard, and didn't give up. And the team we played was a very good football team. We'll most likely be second to quarterfinal type team. Mm-hmm. And we competed with them until really most of the game, final 48 minutes. We also had a lot of missed opportunities on passing the ball down the field, and we ended up throwing for like 220, but we could have had maybe
missed opportunities.
Yes. But I mean, that's just maybe first game jitters, and hopefully that's what it is anyways.
Going into this game in week 1 against Grundy County, didn't have film on them, but what are some things from a fan perspective, from your home fans here at Huntland, that they can expect from this Grundy County team that are maybe challenges for you, or at least things for your team that you're coaching on?
They run a old-styled offense, which is inside-outside veer. They're doing it at a shotgun, so it'll be a little different. It's different for our kids because they have to have responsibilities and stick to responsibilities instead of just playing football. Because you would think one person's got the ball, and then the next thing you know, the ball's running out the back. Also, defensively, they run our defense with a 3-5, but they stunt and blitz. Usually blitz 3 guys each time, so they can come from anywhere. So we got to know our rules on the offensive line and run our rules.
Talking about those rules on defense, when you're going up against an offense like the Veer, how important is it for your linebackers to know who their guy is and know where their keys are?
It's everything in stopping an option team. You got to take care of your responsibilities and rely on your teammates to take care of theirs. You can't try to be Superman and tackle the dive and then the quarterback. You got to take care of your responsibilities first.
Going into this, I want to ask you about a different senior each week. I haven't prefaced you with this, so you don't know who I'm going to ask about. But tell me a little bit about one senior. I'll let you pick it.
Mm-hmm. Let's go with Jaron Kinslow this week. Last week he had 16 tackles. He carried the ball 12 times. He also had 2 receptions for 57 yards. Kind of wore down late on the defensive side, but he does give it everything he has. Plays with a lot of emotion. A lot of times fans might think he's being disrespectful or whatnot. He's never that. He's always yes sir, no sir to any adult. And he plays with emotion. I don't want to take that from him. He plays hard, aggressive, and kind of old school.
Wrap it up with this question. I'm glad you brought up Kinslow. Kinslow, Jaron, is a kid that came in as a freshman, played a role as a freshman, got some snaps, maybe didn't play as much as every freshman wants to, right? And then slowly got to see his role expand each year. How important is it for a freshman to come out and just play, get acclimated with the game, even if they don't have a big role that first year?
Well, a lot of times freshmen can get 100 times better by being great scout team players, and that helps your team evolve more than anybody has ever guessed. They think that means you're not good. No. A lot of our freshmen we have now are very talented, but their bodies are not ready for that grown man football game. And right now we're teaching them the fundamentals and kind of getting them to where organized football rules, where, lineman has a scheme, not just want to block the man in front of you, and just things like that. Linebackers having reads, and not just chasing the ball. And we have a really good group. In a couple years, we might show some noise. I had some noise from them guys.
Good deal.
Sure.
Friday night, Grundy County, be there and support this Huntland Hornet team. Kickoff time has not been adjusted for that game in Huntland. It is at 7 o'clock at home. Be there on time to support your Hornets. As always, you can catch both games right here at WCDT 1340 AM and 106.9 FM. You can catch the Huntland game on the Huntland stream on our website, WCDTradio.com. Click that alternate stream, and you'll be able to catch the play-by-play of that game. For Franklin County, it'll be live on air, 106.9 FM, 1340 AM. Also can catch that on the mainstream on the internet if you're not in the local listening area. This is it for your week one of your WCDT football preview show. If you're enjoying this, please help me out. Share this video, like this video, share it on Facebook, tag people, let them know that this thing is out there so that they can listen and share themselves. Like and subscribe as always. There will not be a show next week for week 2, and we'll pick back up in week 3.